on that side of things.
So should we premiere our new segment now?
Yes. If you want to introduce the segment, sir, go for it.
Okay. This is going to be a YouTube clip, so this is the intro, podcast listeners. Sorry. Well, Monday Night Raw has been trying out new stuff to grab the attention of the viewers. And one of those new toys was Raw Underground with Shane McMahon. And, well, the reactions have been so-and-so. They have been mixed, yeah? So we thought to ourselves, what would we do with the idea of Raw Underground? What if we could book Raw Underground from the get-go? And yeah, so we're fantasy booking Raw Underground. This is the segment. There's nothing more to it.
So we're gonna do our best to try and I want to say make Raw Underground worth watching or worth relevant or interesting.
Oh, my fantasy booking is an epic tale.
Well, if you got an epic tale, I'm willing to hear it if you want to start it. Or I could start. Do you want me to flip a coin? How do you want to do this? You want me to go
No. I don't want to intimidate you with my great idea, so you can go first.
Okay, I'm gonna make this a complete crap shoot here. So we have Raw Underground, okay? Raw Underground. We're gonna start off. We've seen it what it is. It's pretty much been Shane McMahon's toy, and the idea where I would have used Raw Underground is that let's restart it. Let's pretend it hasn't even came out yet. But we're going to talk about this new amazing product. Why? Because Shane McMahon is banned from WWE. He lost his match to Kevin Steen. He's not allowed to be directly employed by WWE in general. So we have Raw Underground. Great. Perfect. He is going to bring out the MMA show he always wanted, the stuff he tried to push while he was outside of WWE. He's finally going to do it, but he's calling it Raw Underground. Where, you know what, if you can't get in the ring, you're not getting airtime. Well, why don't you test yourself in the most brutal, no holds barred action there is, right? We take what they've been doing with the Hurt Business. I like the idea that let's bring Lashley in, but you know what? Let's make Lashley the most dominant essence of Raw Underground, right? Ooh. Let's play into his MMA career. We're going to start off by having him going in the Hurt Business. People are kind of like, who are these guys? What's this about? But we see a really, really intense Lashley. We see someone who's back to doing his MMA, back to being a dominant force. But the difference is that he is plowing through all of these people. It's almost calling into question is Bobby Lashley maybe stronger, better, more dangerous than the Raw roster? But Raw tries to play it down a little bit because he's not a champion. He's never held he's never held the heavyweight title. He's never beaten a Brock Lesnar. He's never beaten any of these titans of sports entertainment. But see Shane, he's going to give him the chance. You know what Shane's going to do? Shane's going to create the Underground tournament for the prestigious, the most athletically girthy and validated title ever, the Raw Underground No Holds Barred Championship. What's going to happen is it's a 16-man tournament where, say, 16 of either Raw or SmackDown and NXT's competitors can vie for this gritty, unstoppable, unmerciful event where they compete for the No Holds Barred Championship, right? They go through.
Are you doing Bloodsport?
Kind of.
This is Bloodsport? Cool.
Kind of. But it'll be a little bit. But we'll get there. We're going to. You know what? Some of the best wrestling takes are emulated from good shows or good movies. Anyway, what we have is that Lashley starts letting out his octagon experience, and he is just going at it. He is doing arm bars, he's doing coquina clutches, he is submitting and breaking bones. People like Ziggler, who actually have been kind of focused on the Raw Underground, they're going in there, they're doing well, but as soon as they come to the dominant force, which is Lashley, well, you know what? Still not good enough. It's getting dominated. We have Lashley run a train on him, and he is the first ever Raw Underground No Holds Barred champion. And then he starts cutting segments on the Raw and SmackDown division going, you sent me your best, but you couldn't even cut it Because you want to know why? I'm simply bigger, faster, and at the end of the day, more experienced than you guys are when it comes to a fight. And if we are in a fight condition where there's no ref, you can't beat me because I will take you apart. I will dismember and dissimulate you. And he runs dominant over the division, right? We start seeing that Raw kind of takes it a little bit more seriously because now they have this show, they have this thing that shares a bit of a namesake, even gets their airtime, suddenly becoming a real viable threat to their champions. Drew McIntyre hasn't involved himself with this yet because he's been doing his title defenses and he's been warding off people who have maybe not been into the gritty nitty of it all, but he realizes that there's actually a dominant threat looming in the Raw Underground scene. What ends up happening that Lashley challenges Drew McIntyre to a winner takes both belts match at Survivor Series, but Drew McIntyre turns it down and goes, "No, I'm not interested in that. That's a lawless federation. You have no rules, no standing. You're just a bunch of ingrates who are just beating seven shades out of each other with no precautions, no nothing. That's not a sport. That's not a sport at all. That's just that's untapped violence, unbridled violence. That's not a sport." So then what happens is we end up having the pretty much what I expect to be happening in Survivor Series if we get that far, where we have Raw's champion versus SmackDown's champion. At this point, I don't think we'll have Braun. It's like, what's that, Braun right now? Braun versus Drew McIntyre. What ends up happening?
Don't you mean Randy Orton versus The Fiend?
Oh God, did they already drop the belt off him? I haven't watched SmackDown in a while.
They will at SummerSlam, probably.
Okay, SummerSlam. Okay then. Well, at this point, I want to keep Braun in there because I feel like Braun's a decent competitor at that point. You know, I feel like when it comes to McIntyre and Braun, it's a good mix for what I'm going for. What ends up happening though is that Retribution end up actually costing Drew the victory at Survivor Series. What we didn't know is that, see these like group of underground street dwellers who are like bombing transformers and destroying rings? That's actually members of Raw Underground looking to try and sabotage the shows, and they finally jump McIntyre and cost him the match at Survivor Series. Like, McIntyre doesn't really know that the Retribution's actually Lashley's guys, but then it comes out and Lashley starts to take actual credit for it. And he goes, "Well, if you didn't want to face me and you weren't mad enough to face me at Survivor Series, we're going to keep coming at you. We're going to invade your shows. We're going to destroy your rings. We're going to leave this place and burn it to the ground." Not Seth Rollins, because that's crap. But we're going to burn this place to cinders until you have no other choice to fight us in our own environment. Then we have that build that goes to like Royal Rumble, and we have literally McIntyre versus Lashley for the merging of the two belts, the no holds barred belt versus the WWE Championship, but only it's down in Raw Underground's basement dwelling nature, like their weird like thing, like their studio they have right now. We all know it's not an actual real underground fight, but it's there, and it's for both belts, a unification, but under the no holds barred rules that Raw Underground's based off of. And then Lashley, because he's got the advantage here, well, he takes Drew down. He dethrones Drew to take the belt, the no holds bar belt, and the Raw Championship to Raw Underground. What do you think?
Interesting. We've both picked up on some of the same story beats. That's interesting. Maybe it was too obvious to do that. So.
I feel like I'm trying to make a chicken salad out of their S word of a writing at the minute.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea of using Retribution to force them to fight under the underground rules. I really like this as a driving force. But then again, you would like stop putting Retribution on TV now. It feels like they have to come in later for your story.
Yeah, we kind of stagger. My idea is you stagger them. You maybe have the odd instance where maybe they feck with like some production things, And, some weeks maybe it's more aggressive than others. Maybe one random week we do have them destroy the Transformer and the lights go out for like a hot 15 seconds while the backup goes. But we don't have them destroy the ring like we saw on SmackDown last week until literally maybe to the week after the Survivor Series stuff. But we have them kind of looming there, but no one really knows who they're about. But just have them kind of like, remember what Aces and Eights did in Impact? Have them do that there, but let's not over egg that omelet. Let's just let them have them be there and just cause enough random havoc to do something there, and maybe even kind of when you're showing during the tournament, even show them standing in the background of some of the matches, not in a big group, but maybe 2 members here, a member over there. Have them carefully peppered in to the segments and let the viewers catch on that these, and make sure let's make sure that their branding or like their uniforms look unique enough that you'd spot them at a glance, but they wouldn't stand out like a sore thumb. Let's pepper them in.
I like it.
First time I tried to book something.
Let's sell that to WWE, unless they want to buy my idea.
Okay, let's lay it on me.
Okay, first of all, Raw Underground is now its own segment. It's not we take a look back at Raw Underground. Now all of that is condensed into one show of itself, kind of like a pirate TV station, capturing the airways of Raw for half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever. And of course, they have a theme song across the nation, Union Underground. It just fits. Second of all, you mentioned taking inspiration from movies. I've done none of that, so let's lean into the idea of a Fight Club. I've booked the movie Fight Club.
Okay.
Okay. All the participants of Raw Underground should be like these disenfranchised guys. Your hashtag 3-week push guys. You're jobbers. They have failed in the establishment. The establishment has given up on them. They still feel like they're worth something, But the world is just not playing nice with them, and they feel out of place. They need a place to be, and this place is Raw Underground. And Shane fits in as the leader because, like you said in your booking, he was kicked out of WWE. He's no longer part of this, but that's his thing. He's been doing this for over 40 years, right? Why should he be kicked out? That's why he builds this Raw Underground, as this home for all the disenfranchised people on wrestling shows. That's the outside story, but the narrative they push for themselves is that they have created something great with this Raw Underground. They weren't pushed aside. No, they chose to go there. They chose to build this great society. It's something better than the establishment. It's not rubbish like Raw or SmackDown. They're heels. They can shit on the product. And they don't fight for money there. They don't fight for any titles. No, they fight for honor. They want to show the world that they are capable, that they are worth something. And that's how I would establish Raw Underground for a couple of weeks, Give it a different feel. It's pre-taped anyway, so you can use practical effects, show a jobber get his teeth punched in, let him cough up blood and stuff like this. Make it violent, They're punching, kicking the stuff out of each other. Yeah? Next thing we need, after a couple of weeks, and the whole retribution stuff that's going on right now in real life, doesn't happen. So after a couple of weeks of Underground, now we revisit the idea of the masked vandalists. Yeah? They are part of the Fight Club. But we don't address that yet. They're still causing chaos, yeah? They're destroying stuff, they're causing problems for the show. We see people on the Raw and SmackDown roster get attacked backstage, ambushed, but we never see who's doing it, yeah? Just people have rumors about it and stuff like that. And in more and more of those underground segments we see Shane McMahon now giving these grand speeches. It's no longer just violence. No, he starts giving these grandiose speeches. But he doesn't talk like Shane McMahon anymore, like the big sweaty Shane O'Mac. No, he talks like he is Tyler Durden now. Okay, Shane McMahon would have learned how to act for this, but it's fantasy booking, so suck it. It's my show, damn it. So he's shaping his fighters into an army, like, yeah, and he plans to take down WWE, the establishment. Since he cannot control it, and he got kicked out of it, like no one will. He's going to burn it all down to take a page out of your book. He's gonna tear it all down and build a new. His new Raw and SmackDown will be better than what is there now. There will be a place for all those hashtag 3-week push guys and jobbers he's got on Underground. They are worth something. It will be an inclusive place for them. So, from here on out, it's really simple. We just booked the WCW, ECW invasion angle, and it's gold 5 stars. I'm done. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I would like that if you can do that, but I want to hear what you're saying here.
Because I don't want to talk for 30 minutes, I only have bullet points now. Yeah. We do not make clear who is in the Fight Club and who isn't. Yeah, of course we have seen people fighting there, but they, like I said, Retribution is basically now part of the Fight Club. Yeah, they have the masked members. We don't know everyone who is there. And on the main roster shows, we kind of foster an atmosphere of paranoia. People get ambushed violently. We want to create kind of a sense of dread, like WWE could really be destroyed by those guys. Yeah, we've talked about suspension of disbelief. The viewers know it's a work, but like, do your darndest to make it feel real. Like, those are really invading, like almost terrorists. Yeah, in fact, that's kind of what they are. We are rebooking Fight Club here. They're terrorists. And my story would lead up to Survivor Series, because the theme of the show kind of leads to what I want to do. Like, fighting for the control of the company. We got the underground teams versus the establishment teams. And because we don't know actually who is in Raw Underground, we can't be sure on the establishment teams. There's not the cohesion there that the establishment wanted. There's infighting. They point fingers at each other, calling each other traitors and stuff like that. And that creates this chaos that Underground can capitalize on and actually defeat the establishment as a Survivor Series. And from there on out, we book the story of how the chosen one recaptures WWE, if you like. Bring in John Cena, or bring in your Drew McIntyre, your chosen one, your Brock Lesnar, or your next greatest babyface ever. This is star building, who single-handedly beats back the Underground guys and takes back control of Raw and SmackDown. This would be your Mania match then. So that's my idea of how to book Raw Underground Fight Club.
I like that. I like the sense that we've got, like, it almost feels like it actually feels like an invasion angle done right, and Survivor Series is such a good place to kind of have that there, because you do have like Team Underground versus establishment, and I like that there. I like an invasion angle. I think that works really well. Wonder who do you put as your defectors though. I like, as well as that there, I do like the fact that you have your defectors. Like, you don't know who's on Team Establishment, who's realistically on Team Underground, and it's like, it's kind of left to, you know, it's left to be seen at the actual Survivor Series point. I feel like that at the point of the major point of collision, that could be really good. I feel like that's almost where, like, I would assume Underground take the win at that point, because then they hold control and dominion over Raw itself. Or is it going to be Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, or just Raw?
I would let them take control of the entire establishment, but I would keep it to the main roster shows. Because NXT is a different thing, you can still... I think you can work around this. It's mainly the establishment that had failed them. Because keeping in story, NXT was good to a lot of those guys. Like your Ricochet would be on Underground. Yeah, you Cedric Alexander, your Dolph Ziggler. I like the idea of putting the Hurt Business there. There's a kind of your core group of Raw Underground. Mustafa Ali, maybe. Guys like that.
That makes sense. I wonder, like, do you have them take over Raw, and do you have like a SmackDown? Do you have them in like own Raw, and do you have them like fighting SmackDown, like in like constantly like destroying or disrupting SmackDown? Not constantly, but like every so often, just turn it up on SmackDown to do something to kind of like unsettle SmackDown slowly, like almost like a war of attrition. They're taking down brand by brand, right up until Mania.
You gave me a great idea. They infiltrate Raw to such a degree that they already have taken over Raw when it comes to Survivor Series, and it's Raw versus SmackDown. And at Survivor Series, they reveal, no, it's actually Raw Underground versus SmackDown, because there is no Raw anymore. Everybody on Raw is Raw Underground, basically.
And then you could build that to where, like, you can see, like, he owns Raw, because he's invaded Raw for that long, that he owns Raw. Up into and he's going after SmackDown at this point. It's like almost a slow war of attrition that leads you into Mania, and it ends up being like you can build like little storylines where people maybe defect from Underground because maybe Shane is a bit too power hungry. And maybe when Shane has power, they've forgotten he's a little bit too domineering. He's too callous, and he's uncaring, and he'll put you in a firing line if he thinks he can win an inch. He'll throw your body just to win that inch, you know. And you'd have those little defectors going to Raw going to SmackDown, going to NXT to make it for that big sort of like battle of the brands, or battle for brand supremacy outside of Survivor Series, but at WrestleMania.
I kind of like the idea how you recontextualize that, and I would run with that, but I would let Underground actually take over SmackDown at Survivor Series, so de facto they are in control of the whole main show, and that's where I would start to book La Resistance. But
like internal,
but in good
angles.
Yeah, the small group that still holds to the ideals of SmackDown, the land of opportunity or BS like that, and they and that's how you build your next top baby faces, because this little group will beat the entire Raw Underground SmackDown. With small numbers, they will defeat 2 rosters and take back control.
You know what you need to do though? You need to have and I think they really make this pop. Have your announcers and all turn into like Raw Underground defectors and as well, like have everyone at core levels choose a side, like announcer, refs, have them all kind of slowly like build a war, and then see at WrestleMania, winner takes the universe, battle for the universe. That could be the WrestleMania goal.
Are we booking NWO Invasion right now?
No, because the idea behind NWO Invasion would have worked if they had have like done it smart, where we're actually going to have NWO fail at Mania. It's actually going to stop at Mania, where it's like it'll be battle for the universe. Unless,
and hear me out, unless it's the hottest shit ever, then they are going to win at WrestleMania.
Right. And I like it, right? And then we book Hogan, right?
Yeah, and this Bischoff guy. We need this Bischoff guy.
Yeah, I like it. And then we have like the whole group consists of like 40 people, and then we have Underground B team.
Yeah,
and then
that's great. Yeah, a B team, go.
Yeah, and then we have the Latin American Underground, and then we have Blue Underground.
Ooh, that's smart.
SmackDown.
I feel like we need something animalistic, like a wolf pack or something like that.
Like a wolf.
Roman Reigns could lead this.
Yeah, like the Big Dog Underground.
Yeah.
I'm liking where this is going.
I love it. Yeah, let's make a transcript of that and send it to WWE.
Yeah. I love it. And then we're gonna take Seth Rollins, and we're just gonna have him dress up like a member from My Chemical Romance, and he's just gonna constantly go up and down zip lines with a bat.
I'm digging it. Tell me more.
All right, great. And then they're gonna have this part where they get this right. They bring in Cody Rhodes, right, to officiate the match between Seth Rollins and the Big Dog, and when Seth Rollins is put into I don't know, a sharpshooter, or no, better yet, it's when he puts into a figure 4 leg lock, and someone's about to count out Seth Rollins because the Big Dog is trying to screw him. You're going to have Cody Rhodes stop the man from ringing the bell, but the problem is that the referee's going to screw up the finish, and then when Cody Rhodes gets involved, he's going to be like, no, I'm not letting this happen, and he's going to drop a crossroads on the Big Dog, and then what happens from there is that he unfairly restarts the match for some reason.
Dude, that's visionary booking. I don't know how you came up with any of that, but they need to follow that to the teeth. It's pitch perfect.
I'm just riffing, I have no actual like.
You've got a talent for this.
Yeah.
See, booking is easy.
Hard did we manage to take our genuine concepts and just rewrite WCW in 1997 all over again?
How did you like the segment?
I enjoyed it. You know what? Justin in the chat has been trying to pop me all night, and he's done it a few times. I saw you saying there about like Shamrock, and like Ken Shamrock could work. Like that could be a great person to bring into Raw Underground. Like that would really work as like one in my angle where you have like the championship tournament for the No Holds Barred championship. That could be like a great person who runs the gambit against Lashley, but Lashley is sadly stronger, younger, faster, and more just more in his prime than Shamrock. But he's maybe the person he meets at the very end of the gauntlet, kind of almost like taking down the old guard and reestablishing the new guard.
I mean, I kind of like it, but I would replace Ken Shamrock by Steven Seagal. I've heard he's the greatest martial artist to ever live.
Oh yeah. He looks at real martial art. He looks at martial artists and he laugh in their face. Can't believe we're talking about that jackass. I like the part we said.
He probably taught Ken Shamrock everything he knows.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Don't diss him.
I like how like Justin was also asking, can you throw shitty rabbit punches during his speech? Just like he's trying to like motivate everyone. He's going, did the whole thing. Hoping our listeners are enjoying this. Have enjoyed the segment. What do you think about the segment?
I had fun. Let's do stuff like that again.
We'll have to come back to it at some point when we've got something else to book.